And I'd like to welcome Love Carpenter, a friend of mine for many years, who has just blossomed, and it's been fun watching her make the transition from a live kitchen consultant to virtual, and it's been fun to see how her team has just exploded. So, Love, I'm just going to let you kind of take the floor. What I'd like to know is maybe like around the executive seminar time when you realized you needed to kind of get on this bandwagon. I think it was then. I don't know.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to know a little bit about y'all. I was talking to Billy Joe when she first chimed in. So I know, Billy Joe, you are all virtual, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Scarlett and Colleen, will y'all tell me a little bit about you? How long you've been with the company? Do you do cooking shows? Do you do virtual? Do you do a mix? What do you do?
I do a mix, and I've been with the company since March.
Okay. And so you do cooking shows and you do virtual?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Colleen?
Not very many so far, but.
Not very many either way, or not very many virtual?
Either way, yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
And I will have my 10-year anniversary this summer.
That's awesome, Colleen. A few changes in the 10 years, right?
Yes. I used to be 100% cooking show, and
I did too. Imagine that.
and since I moved, it's kind of, I just had not much business, but since the first of the year, I have been probably 80% virtual.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, so I told Karen, I said, well, I can just kind of tell my story, and then Karen can ask questions, because she kind of knows what y'all might want to know more about, and I might not exactly know everything to share. So I'll just tell you my story. So I was like Colleen. I was 100% a cooking show consultant. I did catalog shows too, you know. So I've done over 2,700 cooking shows. So when this virtual thing came out, I'm like, I'll just tell y'all, I mean, I'll just be real. I don't even like Facebook, okay? It is just not my thing. And you know how, like, these young little spunky kids, they live their whole life on Facebook. And that's just, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not me. I'm a very...
You wouldn't even answer a message on Facebook.
So, like, I'm just very, like, personal. Like, I don't know. I just have a hard time putting everything out there. I'm just not that person. And, you know, and I think that that's fine too. And it's fine the other way. It's just not me. So it was really hard for me to transition with Facebook and all that. But so although I don't like Facebook, I do like making money, and I do like building a team. So in today's world, I have been trying to build a national team. Since 2010, when we promoted to an executive team, and we just weren't seeing the growth fast enough. You know, we were growing to kind of maintain, and I was getting tired of growing to maintain. And so when I was at executive seminar in October, I saw all these people getting recognized and up on stage. And let me tell you, when you get recognized at executive seminar, first of all, that's the top 60 leaders in the whole entire company, right, Karen? So when they are bringing people up on stage and recognizing them, that is the top of the top of the top of the top of our company. And I sat there and watched these people come up on stage. And there were people that had been in our company for like 17 months, 2 years, 3 years. I'm like, what gives? What am I doing wrong? And seriously. And what I noticed was every single person that went up there either had a huge virtual business or had a huge element on their team that was virtual. There was no denying that. And so I just decided, I had always said, oh, well, I'm just not real good at virtual. Stephen's good at virtual. Kristen's good at virtual. Becky's good at virtual. I'm just not good at virtual. And I just decided when I left that executive seminar, by golly, why can't I be good at virtual? I mean, I wasn't even a good cook when I started Pampered Chef. I didn't know how to cook, and I built an entire cooking show business. So why in the world can't I be good at virtual? So it's like I flipped a switch, and I just decided. I made that decision that I wanted that same success, and I wanted that growth, and why not me, and why not now? Why can't I learn how to do it? And so I came home, and I made that commitment to myself, and that was the turning point when I decided no more excuses. Oh, I'm just not good at virtual. Stephen is, and Like, those were just excuses those were lies I was telling myself and excuses I was telling myself. And so I just decided no more excuses, that I could figure out how to do this, by golly. And so I became a student of business. I'm telling you, I got on every single company call they did, everything that I could do to absorb information on what people were successfully doing. And I'll tell y'all where I got the most help, and this might seem kind of ironic and kind of hysterical, but it was from my downline. I had good leaders in my downline that were doing good virtual parties and doing it successfully. So let me tell you, I started interviewing all these people on our team that were doing good virtual parties. I do a little Zoom recording and share it with the team, but I would just be quizzing them. Okay, how are you doing this? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I just started studying everything that people were doing to be successful, everything the company put out. And then and trying my own things, trying what they told me, you have to own it. You have to have something that works for you. Like, Becky Adams is the first one that ever trained me to do virtual, and she was so kind to share everything with me. But her stuff didn't always work for me because I didn't own it. Does that make sense? So her stuff worked for her, but I had to figure out a way to make it me and my personality and own it for me. And so that's what I did through becoming a student of the business. Listen to what everybody else was doing, but then figuring out how I could take some of those pieces and make those work for me. So I developed my own outline for our team. So in October, I started running it myself. And so they kept talking about this. I don't know how much Karen wants me to share, but they kept talking about these pilot programs that they were doing on these teams and stuff. And I'm like, shoot, let me do a pilot program. So I decided I was going to do a pilot program. So I just messaged out some past cooking show hosts and said, hey, I'm doing a pilot program with a new style virtual party. Just made all this crap up, okay? Anyway, it was my pilot program, okay? So I was trying it because I didn't know how to do successful virtual parties. So I said, I'm doing this pilot program to test a new style virtual party. And I just said, I'm looking for 4 guinea pigs to run this next week, okay, next week, that was key, next week. And if you would be take one of my 4 guinea pigs for next week, you will get a new product for free in addition to all of the host rewards. You get a new product for free from me as an added bonus in addition to all the host rewards. But I was only asking for next week. So when I started doing that, I started getting bookings like crazy for next week. And so then I started getting too many bookings. So then I had to change my message. And I would say, I am doing a pilot program to test a new style virtual party the week of May 27th through the 31st. Like I would, or just say the week of May 27th. Like I would just pick the week. And then once I filled that, I would move out the next week. And then once I filled that, and by doing that, now I messaged a lot of people. It's not like I messaged 10 people and got 10 bookings. No. But I had decided, remember, I made that commitment to myself, and I decided that I was doing this no matter what. So that message and that determination to keep messaging people no matter what, but it made them feel kind of special that they were going to be a part of something different and get something special for doing it. I booked 10 parties one week, 10 parties the next, 10 parties the next, and 10 parties the next. And there I had launched my virtual business, and that changed my business. I didn't even really have good sales this past year. And I've sold $1 million. So, I mean, I feel like I know how to sell stuff. I've done a lot of parties over a lot of years. But this past year was not a stellar sales year for me last year. I'll be very transparent, very honest with you guys. I sold about 2,500 to 4,000 each month, and that was it. And I'm crushing it with $10,000 a month every month doing virtual parties now. And I sign a lot of people up, so I move a lot of shows off my calendar. So I try to keep booking 10 parties a week, but I'm not holding 10 parties a week. So I'll be transparent with that. Because, when I sign somebody up, then I'm moving shows off my calendar. So like for this week, I started with 6 shows this week, but I had more than that. But, like I signed somebody up last week that took some of my parties from this week, if that makes sense. So that's why I want to overbook, because I do want to be, I do want to add a lot of people to the team. I do have big recruiting goals. So I know that I can't fly with the bare minimum virtual parties and keep that high recruiting numbers and still keep my bookings up. So even though I say I'm booking 10 parties, I'm not actually running 10 parties every week, if that makes sense. And then some of them turn into grand opening shows. And then some of them, I mean, y'all probably don't have that problem, but we must have a big witness protection program around here because they just vanish. I don't know. They just here this week and they're not there the week we run their party. So that happens too. So like that, I kind of count that in. So I try to overbook because some people just, who knows what happens to them. They just go somewhere. So that's kind of the big thing was I just decided. And I decided, why not me and why not now? And why couldn't I have that same virtual party success? And I still don't like Facebook and I still am not very good at Facebook, but I'm good in my parties and I'm good working my parties. So Karen, you have questions?
Yeah, well, the first thing that came to my mind from what your talk is, it sounds like you're signing up a lot of people from your virtual parties. What's a great tip for us to implement into our virtual parties to increase our booking, our recruiting?
Okay, y'all don't laugh, but I will tell you the secret because we have figured it out. You got to have a really, Karen knows what I'm going to say, I think. You got to have a really, really, really big ask, okay? You got to ask a lot of people. And, what's the difference between the top recruiter in the company and one of us on this call? That person asks more people to join their team. What's the difference in the top recruiter on my team and someone that has never recruited? That person just asks more people to join their team. Okay? It doesn't take any special skill to recruit. The better you get at asking, the more people you're going to have join your team. I mean, you can recruit in spite of yourself if you just ask. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't. But if you just ask, you will be amazed at what people will tell you. So I ask everybody. I ask. And I can tell you the months I don't hit my recruiting numbers, it's because I wasn't focused and I didn't have as many asks. And so I think Karen has this, but I'll share this with her. This is something that our team lives by, and it is called, imagine that, the big ask list. And so what we do is we hold ourselves accountable to asking. It depends on what your goals are. So I could fill up way more than one of these sheets in a month. But we teach newer consultants to focus on that want to build a business and that want to move to directorship to focus on asking at least 20 people in a month. And when we say, and so that's two-way conversations. That's not sending out 20 messages. That's, they messaged and someone replied. So it's that's how you count it as an ask. Even if they weren't interested, it's no big deal as long as they have that conversation. So an ask is, asking, well, every one of your hosts, so if you have 6 parties this month, you should have at least 6 people in here because you've got to ask every host. Then I ask all the people in my parties that are real active. I just say, hey, you seem to really love this. You seem super engaged in the party. I'm just curious, have you ever thought about doing something like this before? If you just ask these questions, you will be amazed at what people will say. They'll say, well, I actually used to be a consultant years ago, and this virtual party is like really fun. Or they'll say, well, I had thought about it before, but blah, blah, blah. But it starts a conversation about the business. And so if you just put a big focus on asking people, not only will you start finding more recruit leads, I guarantee you will get more bookings. That's the side effect of asking a lot of people, because then you'll have people that say no, and then I'll say, well, I totally get it. I totally understand. Well, would you like to be one of the bookings to help Cindy out and be one of her, help her earn her host rewards? And I don't know if you guys have heard about the automatic no. Like there's a lot of research on this. And when you walk into a store and someone says, can I help you? What do we say most of the time? No, thanks, I'm just looking. It's like that automatic no. So people are more likely to say yes to the second question than the first question. So if the first question you ask them is about bookings and they say no, well, then you can't really come back and say, oh, well, I know that you didn't want to book a party, but would you like to join my team and sell Pampered Chef? Like, it's kind of hard to go there. But if you ask them about the business and they say no, it's very natural to say, well, would you like to be one of the bookings that helps Lisa earn her host rewards and be one of the bookings off her party? I would love to do this with you and your friends. They're more likely to say yes to that second question. Mm-hmm. So the side effect of asking a lot of people about the business will put more bookings on your calendar too.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to open it up to questions, but I do have one more thing I want to ask before I do, is tell us what's happened in the past year. What's happened since October? What has that done to your team? What has that done to your income?
So my income has, well, doubled since October, but like tripled since this time last year. Okay.
Triple.
So
Tripled.
my husband was just on the phone. My husband's a Superior Court judge in the state of North Carolina. That's the highest trial court in our state. And he was just on the phone with one of the DAs in another county, and they were talking about some things going on. And he asked me what he was doing, and he said, well, I'm cooking dinner so my wife can have dinner before she starts her calls tonight. And he made a comment about what was I doing, because he knows me. And he said, well, she's the breadwinner in the family now, so I cook dinner every night so she can work. So literally my income has flown off the charts since making the switch to virtual. And that's what did it. It's hard to lead a team somewhere if you're not doing it yourself. It's hard to lead a team to recruit if you're not a good recruiter. It's hard to lead a team to, have a big virtual growth within the team if you're not comfortable doing and training virtual too. So for me to train our team to go where I wanted us to go, I had to be good at what I was doing. So that's what I started doing in October and November. And then I started bringing my personal team in and some of my personal directors and teaching them what I was doing. And then it's grown and grown and tripled through our organization. So in October, and again, I'll be very transparent with y'all, we were a struggling executive team. I mean, we were promoting directors, but we would lose directors, and it would just kind of, it was a constant battle I mentioned earlier, we were growing to maintain, and I was just really getting tired of where we were. So from being a small executive team, we had 14 directors, I believe, at the beginning of this year, but we had less than that in October at executive seminar. So we had 14 directors at the beginning of this year, and we have 38 directors on our team now. We were a struggling executive team in October, and we are in second month of national qualification this month. So we will promote to senior executive this month, the senior executive team this month, and then we still have a lot of work to do in the next 9 days. Fingers crossed, we will be a national executive team on July 1st of this year. And it's all from the virtual growth. All from
it's not going out and doing more parties, it's not going out of your house. It's just making that tweaking your business, really.
In fact, I haven't actively booked a cooking show since October, since executive seminar. Now, I've done some cooking shows because, when we've been in the business for a while, you just have people that want to do shows and they contact you. But I haven't. So I have done cooking shows each month, but this month I haven't done. I have a bridal shower the last day of the month, but last month I think I did one. I haven't done any yet this month, and I did a couple in January, but none of those I actively sought out. They were just people that asked about booking a cooking show. So everything I've done that I've booked since October has been virtual.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, Love.
So Karen asked about my income. I'll be glad to share with y'all because I
love to hear it.
You want me to, Karen?
Anybody else want to hear it?
All
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Sure.
All right. So my check last month, and I hear people say, well, sometimes people are scared of recruiting, or they're scared to recruit because one, it might take shows off their calendar. I get it, guys. I totally get it. I've been there. Or they feel like they don't know how to train them, or they're afraid to ask because they feel like they might be pushy. Well, let me tell you how worth it is to recruit. One, you can change somebody's life by sharing the business with them. And I know you guys know that, but you also dramatically change your life too along the way. So my check last month was $15,515.
And how much was it a year ago?
Well, some months a year ago it was 4,000. Some months it was 5,000. Some months it was 7,000. It just kind of depends more on my personal business that month. Like the months I sold 2,500, I'd have a $4,000 paycheck. The months that I sold closer to 4,000, it would be higher if my team did more. So somewhere between 4,000 and 7,000 is kind of what I used to earn on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so far this year, in the first 4 months of this year, I have earned more than in all 12 months of last year.
Interesting. Anybody up for that?
Yeah.
Be nice.
Sure.
All right.
And me being willing to commit to diving in 100% into the virtual world, and it's where the growth is. And the cooking show is not dying. I mean, it's not dying. It depends on what you want from your business. But I wanted to build a national team, and it was not as easy to go out and find people at my cooking shows that were willing. The world has changed, and there's so many more people working 2 and 3 jobs, where years ago when I started, there were so many stay-at-home moms and one family incomes. That is kind of a thing of the past. There's so many single parents and both parents in the home working, and the dynamics are just different than they were years ago. So it's not as easy, not that you can't find people, but it's not as easy to go out and find people at a cooking show that are willing to be gone 2 nights a week to build their business with Pampered Chef, in addition to a full-time job and coming home to young kids. It was harder for me to find the numbers than it was years ago. And so that's why we were kind of stalling out in our growth, because that's a big commitment. Let me tell you, it's not hard to find people who are willing to run a virtual business all from their smartphone and their computer and never leave their house and do 4 parties a week. That was a game changer. When we started down that path, that was a game changer for our team.
Love, do you find that you have to help them with templates a lot, or once they get going, they can pretty much handle it themselves?
You might not like my answer.
That's okay.
I give my consultants our template.
Okay.
I do the template. I don't expect them to. We do have consultants that do their own template, and I'll be honest with you, they are not our top performers on our team. I want them to focus on getting bookings and working their parties and offering the business to their host, not building the template. So I build the template and we push it out to the team.
I love it.
Every new consultant gets the template, and we really stress, you've got to change this, you've got to change this. But so far, fingers crossed, we haven't had any problems and everybody's changing the template. So they know they have to change it. But they don't, if I leave it up to them to do the template, some people don't realize how important those posts are. You've got to have a host post every single day. You've got to have a recruiting post every single day. There's certain things in that party, you've got to have so many interactive posts to make the party work. And if they start changing it too much, sometimes they don't understand what they're dropping from that party. And so we just encourage them to use the template we're putting out.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. Okay. I'm going to stop. We're taking up a lot of your time. And I'd love to know if anyone has a question that you'd like to ask Love.
I have a ton.
Oh.
I have a ton I could ask you. Can I ask? Okay, the first one I was going to ask you, when you started with messaging X number and X number, where were you messaging those from? From your personal Pampered Chef contacts or Facebook contacts?
Facebook contacts. And do you guys have your own community on Facebook?
Like a team community, or?
That might be a whole nother training for a whole nother time, but I can get Karen the information. But Karen, like a group that Marna taught us to do, that you invite your customers to, a private group on Facebook?
Like a business page.
Like a VIP?
Well,
we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity group.
Okay, so we teach our consultants to have a group on Facebook, like a private group. And so I can share my post that I do with Karen. So there's a post in my party that says, it's got a VIP ticket image on it, and it says for 10 extra tickets or 20 extra tickets in the party, click here to join my online community. And then we come up with our name for our community and stuff. And so they click there. So okay, you're doing a party this week and you're in front of these people and they're loving it. But then how do you stay in front of those people? And so these people are invited to a private VIP group, but I don't call it that. I'm just telling y'all that's what it is.
Oh, so but each consultant has their own. It's not like they're invited to our team.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Has their own.
Most of it has that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I've been building my group. So when I first started, I went to that group because those people love Pampered Chef. They wanted to be in the group. So that's who I started with. But then after that, I branched out, looked through my friends, and I didn't care who they were. And if I didn't know them, that's all the more better. If I was friends with them, I had to be connected with them somehow. So I just messaged everybody. I didn't care. I mean, what were they going to do? Tell me no? I mean, this is Facebook. I just messaged everybody.
There you go. Good. Anyone else have a question?
I'm sorry I was late. I missed out on the beginning. I just got in. But Love, you probably told, how many parties do you personally do each month? Do you do 4 a week each week? I mean, is that what you do?
So just let me preface this by saying I have a really big goal, and we are trying to build to national. Okay.
Wow.
So I knew that I needed to bring in more people to develop more directors for us to be able to do that. So because of that, I had an extremely big goal. So I booked 10 parties a week, and I'm not always running 10 parties a week. because I'm signing people up, moving shows off my calendar, but I need my calendar to be robust enough. If I only have 4, sign people up, I'm losing 2. I don't want to just be running 2 parties in a week.
Gotcha.
So my goal is book 10 every week. I don't always run or hold.
So you overbook, and then some of those hopefully will become consultants on your team, and then that's
Correct.
their party.
And then something that you don't think about is this happens a lot. I have hosts that don't sign because they don't have the money or they're not convinced, or they just don't sign. But then when 2 of their friends host parties and they continue to see what's happening, then they decide to host, and I might still have some bookings on my calendar for them, and I move them off my calendar and give them to them.
Gotcha.
And that's starting to happen a lot now that I'm in the process of this. So that's another place that I'm moving bookings. That's why I try to keep my bookings high.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do.
Go for
What
it.
is your number one tip as far as a successful virtual party other than host coaching? Like what else do
I
you
would
think?
say the number one thing that I learned that I think changed my virtual parties, I learned from Stephen. Y'all know Stephen. Karen probably talks about it. Okay, I learned from Stephen. He taught me a lot. And so when I first saw his outline, I was like, you're kidding me. I mean this in the best way, okay? I was like, I had this beautiful outline that I thought was so great because I had gone by the home office like party packs, and I thought this was like the perfect outline. And I looked at his and I was like, what is this? He had all this random stuff that had nothing to do with Pampered Chef, and I didn't understand Facebook and how it worked. And I was missing the boat so big. I was so far, like, not even where I needed to be with this. So when I took his style of party, he has a lot of interactive posts in the first 2 days of his party that really have nothing to do with Pampered Chef. Okay, y'all know the post I'm talking about, right? Like what kind of ice cream?
Engagement post. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's my biggest tip, is because you've got to have, like, this is a great tip that I heard. 80% of people own Facebook, consume Facebook solely through their news. Okay, so that means in your party, over invites, and then they get a smaller number to join the party, and then even a smaller number is even participating in the party, right? So out of that small number that's participating in the party, only 20% of that number is even clicking into your party. So what that means is if your posts are not getting interaction on them, they're not seeing the party at all because it's not being pushed to their newsfeed. So by those stupid posts that I thought were stupid, had nothing to do with Pampered Chef, that's the magic in the party. That's what's pushing that party out in the newsfeed for people to participate in the party. That if you don't have that high engagement on your post, people are not seeing the post. So it's not that they don't want to order and then they're not there and they wouldn't like the party. They don't even see the party because people don't click into the party. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that was something I didn't understand about how Facebook worked. So that would be my biggest tip. Make sure you've got heavy engagement on the front end of your party to make it fun and interactive and low pressure and just fun. Then my last, after the first 2 days, then it is more Pampered Chef products and tips and things like that. But there's still engagement there. But that's what I learned from Stephen. And I would say that's what helped change my virtual party.
Thank you very much.
Good tip.
Anyone else?
Are you reaching out to, like, I can have a party with 45 people that say they're coming. I can have 6 people who are engaging and 2 people who order. Are you reaching out to all 40 plus of those people that accept the invitation when you talk to them about possibly joining your team or booking and helping the hostess?
So I am not right now, but remember what I said about being a student of the business? I couldn't learn it all overnight. And so, Karen, I don't know if you were on our call, our mastermind call last week or not, but that was one of the things. Were you on that call? We were talking about that, about how some of these hotshot virtual consultants, I think, are doing that. And
yes,
like somebody was sharing, they were tagging people and doing it, and then some people were messaging out. So I'm trying to kind of find out what is like the best case scenario, and I'm going to start doing something like that. And like I always try things myself before I train my team to do it. So I'll probably take a week of parties and do it one way, and a week of parties and do it another way, and kind of see what kind of results I'm getting, and then roll some things out to my team. That's what I did with this whole process. I would do things oh, we're gonna have another pilot program. Trying a pilot program, trying to do things for the party. And so I have heard that that's what some of the top people are doing. So I want to get some more information on that and start doing something like that. But currently I have not been. But I do encourage my host to message out. That is something I've added to my host coaching. And I do that the day the party closes. Then the next day I open it back up for orders and we put a post up that says, hey, if you missed our countdown, the consultant has opened the party back up for orders. And if you miss the countdown, you can get a last minute order in while I'm working on my order. And so then that day I'm having her message out to people that did not order and just say, hey, no pressure at all. Just wanted to make sure you saw my link is closing tonight. If there's anything you would like, or a gift for someone, or if you would like the host to show, some wording like that. And so I'm having my host do it, but I'm thinking about starting to do it.
Okay.
Because some hosts do it and some hosts don't. You know that.
Right.
And are you using groups or events?
Groups. And I went kicking and screaming to groups when we had that problem back last April.
Oh.
I did not want to go to groups, but you guys know they changed groups in October and it operates a lot more like an event.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're using a scheduling program,
You have to do groups.
use groups.
But I love groups now and I won't go back to events. I love how they work.
Because you just post my party, don't you?
I do. I use Post My Party.
Yeah. Love, do you send friend requests to your guests in the parties, or some of them, or how do you operate with that?
That's that, Gail.
Yeah, me, Gail.
Yes, I do send friend requests to everyone who is active in the party. So if we
Okay.
have 45 people join and we have 19 people that are real active, I'm going to send friend requests to those. But we actually just changed up the post this week, or actually 2 weeks ago. And now our post in there says, it used to say, please accept my friend request. I'll be sending you a friend request. And we used to have a little thing like that. So it drew your attention to, it told them we were doing that. I have some people that will comment and say, I didn't get a friend request from you this week. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm dragging my feet and I'm super busy, but I'll get, I wouldn't say that.
Right.
But now
Right.
we changed it to see how this works. And it says 10 extra tickets when you friend request me.
Oh, okay. That's
trying that
better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm still,
I like that.
so that goes in on Tuesday. So that went up today. So towards the end of the party, I am still sending friend requests to the active people that didn't friend request me. But I'm giving them a chance, and that cuts down on the number of friend requests I'm sending so that we don't have to worry about the Facebook jail issue much.
That's a really great idea.
That is.
Did you use a Google form?
Oh, yes, I use a Google form. I get tons of bookings from that Google form.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And not tons in one party. Don't get me wrong. So don't use the Google form and think this doesn't work. But across the board each week, I am picking up a good number of extra bookings. If I wasn't using that Google form, I would be missing out on people that wanted to book that.
If you're doing if you're doing 4 to 8, 10 parties, you're getting 10 bookings per week.
And that's my biggest tip to y'all: overbook. I mean, you run for at least 4 parties every week that you're running.
Okay.
Love, could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Yes, for it.
Keeping track. I did 4 virtual parties last week. I got 4 this week. And I'm just wondering if you teach your team a different or some sort of system to keep track. I mean, I've got my notepad and I'm, who's doing what and putting little stars next to different comments on my page, on my paper. So I know, because when you got that many running and they're pretty active, it's hard to remember.
So give me an example of what you're trying to keep track of, Maureen. Like, what are you trying to remember? And I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Well,
who has a
recruit
party,
leads.
or
or like a red flag for recruiting or red flag for a booking.
Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all my system, but y'all, I'm very simple.
That's what we like.
That's what we like. Yeah, that's what we like.
All right. So we're very simple on our team, okay? So this is my calendar, and I do run a digital calendar. So I run everything off a digital calendar, but I run my show schedule on a paper calendar because I need to be able to see it, okay? So I start all my parties on Monday. I don't think it matters what day you start them. I want to start them on Monday because that's when I'm in the office, and that works for me. So so I have this is my list. This was all my parties that week. And so when someone books, I just put their name on that week. And so then there was my parties the next week. We were in Hawaii that week. There was my parties the week after. I needed 2 stickers that week. So I just write their name here and then I go set them up on Camper Check. So this is how I keep track of my parties. And so like I already have some November bookings because people want to do things near the holidays. So you better believe I set it up in Pampered Chef because I can't remember this stuff, guys. So their name is here and it's in Pampered Chef. So immediately when somebody books, I do that. Then what I do is this is a monthly, weekly calendar. So that's all the information I have. I mean, everything else about them is on Pampered Chef. So I don't really need anything else there. So then what I do is the weeks, let me find one that makes more sense. Okay, so this is a monthly, weekly. So this is my weekly, okay? So each of my host names are here. So see the host there, and there's some names under. So these yellow things are people that booked parties. Those were the bookings. Then as I've kind of developed this system and gone on, let me show you one from okay, so here, this little blue line means that I sent out the customer care text to all those people. The yellow is the booking. I've got the same thing you're talking about, little notes. So I like it because it's all in my calendar and goes with me. And since I don't use the weekly pages, so like this says, this was April the 1st. So these were all my parties the week of April 1st. I just divided in boxes. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had 8 that actually held that week. So I track all 8 right here. And I just like this because it's always with me. Now, I'll be glad to share with Karen. We have some people in our team that have done very well. But they had to have a more structured thing. So we've got this girl named Lori. She signed up in February. She did her first parties in March. She did 4 to 5 parties a week in March. She sold $11,800 in her first month of business. She promoted to fast track director. Her paycheck for her first paycheck was $3,900. And Lori is a little overachiever, so she made our team a spreadsheet. I don't use it because I can't keep up with all the papers, and so I still use this, but a lot of people are using her spreadsheet. I'll share it with Karen. And she just kind of made what she needed, tweaked it as she went, so it's got the things she's trying to track. So I'll share that with Karen. It might be something that can help you. I don't personally use it, but a lot of our team is using her sheet.
Okay, thanks.
Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Yeah, well, yes and no, because I wanted to be more detailed as far as the customers and the guests that are on the parties.
So that's what I'm writing down underneath, like the people that are real active and I'm watching and scouting them. I'm writing their name down underneath the host name, and then I can put, if I message them, I'll put PM. If they're a recruit lead, I put R with a line under